Hey baby girls, I finally got my hands on the new Airbrush brow system, and if you want to know how to work this machine and what tints to use, then I've got you covered in this video. So I wanted to use Lydia as my model because I just felt like her brow texture and the brow shape would work really well with airbrush brows. I feel like you don't want someone with really coarse, thick brows, and you could have someone with barely no brows, but yeah, I just felt like this would be a good model to use. So I'm just cleansing the brows right now, and I'm using a foam cleanser. This is going to ensure all the dead skin layer is off Lydia's brows. And you want to make sure you have given the brow area a nice scrub so the tint doesn't stick to any dry patches. So once I've finished cleansing, I'm now going to go in and map the brows. I feel like this is a really important step when using your airbrush machine, especially when you're applying your stencils, because you want to make sure you have got them perfectly symmetrical, because if you haven't and you go in with your airbrush machine, the tint is going to look horrific. So I go in with my Buff Brows mapping string, and I'm just going to find the center points. Then using my Buff Brows Define pen, I'm then just going to draw a guide around the brows so my stencils are super even and perfect. If you've never used one of these pens before, I highly recommend buying them. Honestly, they're amazing. I just feel like I can follow my lines so much neater and easier when using one of these, and they are a bit harder as well to get off the skin. So say you're waxing and you touch one with your finger, it won't actually come off the skin until you actually wipe at the end. So these are the stencils I got. They come in a pack of 12 and they was all the same size. So I was actually a bit concerned because obviously they're all the same size and I wasn't sure how they was going to sit on the brows. But actually when I started to play around with them, I noticed you could manipulate where you put the arches, which then gave you like creativity to follow whatever shape you wanted. One tip I can give you on this is do it with bare hands and not gloves, because when I tried it with gloves, they kept getting stuck to the gloves and I was finding it trickier. Baby girls, do me a favour and hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. So I was actually pleasantly surprised with how easily they was to put on. I feel like because I drew the template around the brows, that made it so much easier. I feel like if you was to freehand that, you would struggle and you probably would have quite uneven brows. But yeah, I was really happy with that. I am now going to mix up my tint and get ready to do the airbrush. So all tint ratio is different depending on what brand you use. I'm using Aqua drops, and the ratio that was recommended with this brand was 3 drops of tint to 1 drop of developer. I wanted to have more than that to work with in case it ran out mid-brow. So I put 4 times the amount. I put in 12 drops of tint and 4 drops of developer. And also a really important step, you need to add saline solution to your tint mix. This is so your tint thins, so it can travel through the airbrush machine without clogging up. I added 3 squirts of solution and mixed it all up and poured it into my airbrush machine. Also, it will come with a plastic cup and a metal cup. Make sure you use the plastic cup as the metal one can react with the tint. And then I literally just went in and started to spray the brows. So I wanted to make them look a little bit more defined on the tails. So I went in a bit heavier on the tails and then tried to make them look as soft as possible at the front, so I didn't add as much tint to that area, as you can see. Also with this tint you need to add 2 to 3 layers to make the tint nice and pigmented. So I do my first layer, let it dry for a minute or 2, and then I go back in with my second and third layer. Also, when you first start spraying them, it looks like nothing is coming out of the machine, but as soon as the tint starts to oxidize, it goes so dark. So don't be alarmed with how dark they go, because I promise you they won't turn out this colour unless you're obviously using black. On Lydia's brows, I'm using shade medium brown. Though this machine was quite easy to use, I would recommend practicing on your leg to get used to the air pressure before you actually take it to someone's face. The airbrush machine was £36 from Amazon and it has 3 PSI settings. I used the fastest setting. And in between coats, I just clean up any areas that I've oversprayed. So I'm now just spraying my third and final layer, and I'm not gonna lie, I was pooping my pants at this stage because they were so dark. Although I know obviously it was just oxidizing, it still made me a little bit scared because I was thinking, oh my god, what if they actually set this colour? I was also worried that the tint was going to seep through underneath the stencils and it was just going to be one big blur when I peeled the stencils off, so that was also racing through my mind. And in between the tint drying, I was fanning her down like a Greek goddess. Has anyone got any spare grapes? So, oh my god, has this worked? Please, 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 please work. Oh my god, it actually worked. And honestly, I was so surprised that it was so crisp and clean. I was still worried though, even about the top one, because I feel like that could have also gone wrong, but it didn't, and it was perfect. So to actually make this treatment time saving, you're supposed to do the shape whilst the tint is on, because you need to leave the tint on for around 15 minutes. So now I'm just going to clean up any strays and tidy the brows. Because the tint was applied in such soft layers, the tint was actually really thin on the skin, so it didn't feel like it was going to run into the wax when I was waxing the brows, and this obviously made my life so much easier. So anyway, I'll let you enjoy this waxing and I'll see you in a minute. Hey, I'm back. So I didn't actually have very high expectations with the airbrush machine, just because I thought it was going to be like a fad and it was just going to look rubbish. But I was so pleasantly surprised when I took the tint off the brows. I honestly couldn't believe how nice it looked. I definitely think this would look better on certain types of brows. Lydia is obviously that girl which looks incredible with the airbrush brows. I can't imagine I would love it on someone with really heavy brows. I feel like it would sit quite heavy on their brows, but I don't know, everyone's different. But yeah, I actually love them. I just finish off with just a teeny bit of concealer. So this is what Lydia's eyebrows looked like before, if you can't remember. I mean, still beautiful, but definitely her bulbs was a bit sparse. And then the after. Oh, look at these. They look so beautiful. So the perfect ombre brow. I think she looks stunning with these brows, and she was really happy. And it's her birthday, so these were her birthday brows. So my final thoughts on the airbrush brow machine is, if you want an ombre brow, then this is a perfect way to apply it. If not, I really don't see the benefit in using this compared to precise tinting by hand. This didn't save me any time, and it was a bit of a faff having to set it up and clean it down, especially if you've got a busy day. This would be a pain in the bum. I will leave all the links to the products I've used today in the description. And thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.